Lilting is an independent 2014 movie. It's directed by Hong Kao-yu. It's his directorial feature debut, and it stars Ben Whishaw, Cheng Pei-pei, Peter Bowles and Andrew Long. So as I said, this is the directorial debut of Hong Kao-yu, and it tells the story of Cheng Pei-pei's character June. She's a Cambodian Chinese lady. She's recently lost her son and she's trying to come to terms with it. Prior to his death, she had been living in a nursing home, and this is where the story starts and where we find her. She doesn't have much English and she feels an awful lot of isolation and a lot of loneliness because the one person who she could turn to and was very dependent upon is her son. Into the equation comes Ben Wishaw's character, the character of Richard, who is initially introduced as Kai, who is her son, Kai's friend, whom he lived with. Now we know from exchanges that Richard is actually the boyfriend of Cheng Pei-pei's character's recently deceased son. Now, in order to, I suppose, look after June, he hires a lady by the name of Van. She speaks a number of dialects of Chinese and Cambodian, and he hires her in order to be able to interpret between June and a man who's also living in the nursing home with her, with whom they've struck up a relationship, but they don't have any English and they don't have any Chinese. There's no kind of the language barrier is there. But really the piece is mainly to do with the character of June and the character of Richard, and how they basically come across the barriers. The barriers they have are racial, they're cultural, they're age. Cheng Pei-pei's character is a mother who's in grief, and she's trying to come to terms with the death of her son. She resents Richard because Richard was living with Kai, who was played by Andrew Long, prior to his death. And she feels that, like, you know, he's responsible for taking her son away from him. She was very dependent on her son. We learn, you know, at various instances through the film that he did her banking and he looked after everything for her, all her bills, etc. So initially, I suppose the relationship between Richard and June is very fraught. She doesn't respect him. She doesn't want him there. She's in some ways jealous of his relationship that he had with her deceased son. He's trying to maintain an air of sort of the fact that they were friends, and this is quite difficult for him to do because he's also in the grieving process. Kai's death obviously didn't take place very long ago. Now the movie itself it's a beautiful piece. It's a very quiet piece. I think a number of people have referred to it as a chamber piece. It's the kind of movie that you could imagine kind of being in the theatre. A lot of interior shots. At the start there's a brief spell spent outside at the nursing home when Richard initially meets with June, but after that we're in bedrooms, we're in the nursing homes, it's all interiors. So as I said, a very quiet piece, very restrained. Ben Whishaw is one of my favourite actors who's working today. I thought he was excellent as Q in Skyfall. If you haven't seen his performance as Richard II in The Hollow Crown, which was the BBC Shakespearean season there about 2 years ago, do check it out. He's a wonderful, wonderful actor. And not only is he a wonderful actor, he's a guy you should respect as a person. You should Wikipedia him, look him up. He's an amazing actor. Cheng Pei-pei obviously is great in this role as well. She's very restrained. I first saw her in 1966's Come Drink With Me, which is the King Yu wuxia picture. She played a lot of sort of expert swordswomen in the intervening years before coming to main prominence with Western audiences as the character of Jade Fox in Ang Lee's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I thought the film was lovely. It's very quiet. It's only about 86 minutes long. It's not a very long film, but it's very well shot. Hong Kao-yu has a very good eye. He's a very good eye for emotion and bringing emotion out of all the leading characters. What I would say is that the ending isn't overly satisfying. I think it could have been dealt with a slightly bit different way. I'm not going to spoil it. It's satisfying to a point. I just think it could have been done a small bit better. I would give the movie 7 out of 10. The performances are excellent. It's very much a character-driven piece, which I thought was a very good film. If you like this review or you want to hear any more, please comment down below and subscribe if you want to. Check out my other reviews, and please make suggestions. As I said, I'm pretty new to this, but I'm open to constructive criticism. So I'll talk to you really soon. Take care.